structure breathe. Find the carbon chain that holds the hydroxyl light. Make sure the count is grounded, keep the numbers tight. It's the alkanol state of mind, yeah.
Now let's discuss another organic compound known as alcohol. Yes. Alcohols are characterized by OH group, that's the hydroxyl group. The hydroxyl group. And this presence of hydroxyl group makes the name of the alcohol have a suffix of ol, which is OL. It is the name ends with OL. Now let's name some alcohol compounds to see how the nomenclature is done. Now remember that let's consider the first one. Remember that the functional group of alcohols is the hydroxyl group, which is the OH. Now, since the OH is found on carbon 1 or is found at this end, it means you are going to number from this right side, because if you number from the left side, it will give the functional group a very big number. Yes, if you number from the right side, it's going to be given 1, that is, it's attached to carbon 1. If you count from the left side, it will give it carbon 3, which makes it not appropriate. So let's number from the right. We have 1, 2, 3. Now, since the longest continuous carbon chain is 3 carbons, it means the parent name will start with prop. Now, since the hydroxyl group is found on carbon 1, the name of this compound will be called propan 1 ol. This one represents the carbon that the hydroxyl group is attached to, carbon 1. Is that clear? Now, this first compound we have named now, which is propan 1 ol, is a primary alcohol because the carbon connected to the hydroxyl group is directly attached to only one carbon. On that note, it is called a primary alcohol. Now, let's consider the next one. Now, looking at the next one, we have the hydroxyl group on carbon 2. Now, let's name this. If you look at the longest carbon chain is still 1, 2, 3. That means it is still prop. But since the hydroxyl group is found or attached to carbon 2, it means the name will be propan 2 ol. Do you understand? Now, propan 2 ol is a secondary alcohol because the carbon that is connected to the hydroxyl group is attached directly to 2 other carbon atoms. Okay, on that note, we call this a secondary alcohol. Don't forget I still remain tutor Prince Obajiwo Daniel Dinekol, also known as the Mafuolik, Physical Biologist. Stay tuned for the next sets. Now let's consider another alcohol compound. Remember, OH describes an alcohol. Now let's number to see how this name will be done. Now looking at this, we have 1. You can number it to be 1, 2, 3. It could be 1, 2, 3. It could be 1, 2, 3. It could be 1, 2, 3. So regardless of the direction in this case, you are correct. Now to make it easier, let me number from the right side. Now if you number, we have 1, 2, and 3. Now, since we have known that the longest continuous carbon chain here has 3 carbons, that is prop, which means that the parent name will have prop as the beginning. Are we together as the prefix? Are we together? Now, since we have OH on carbon 2, it means it will be 2 ol. But then, looking at this straight chain, this longest carbon chain, there is a substituent, a methyl group attached on carbon 2. Yes, or attached to carbon 2. So the name will become 2-methyl, that is methyl group attached to carbon 2. Then 1, 2, 3, propan. The alcohol group, which is the hydroxy group is attached to carbon 2, that will be propan 2 hall. On that note, the name is, or the Iupac nomenclature here is 2-methyl propan 2 hall. Now, this 2-methyl propan 2 hall is a tertiary alcohol. Yes, because the carbon that is attached to this hydroxy group is directly connected to 1, 2, 3. Yes, 3 carbon atoms. On that note, you call it tertiary alcohol. Are we together? Now, let's go to the next one. So, let's consider this next compound. Now, looking at this compound, we also have the OH group, which is the hydroxy group. Automatically, this compound is an alcohol compound. Now, the next thing is to identify the longest continuous carbon chain. So, let's do that. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 1, 2, 3. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Which means that the longest carbon chain is 5. Now, remember that the direction from which the numbering should be done must be considered by taking note of where or the position of the hydroxy group, such that we give the hydroxy group, or better still, the functional group, the lowest number possible. Now, since we have 5 carbons to be the longest continuous carbon chain, if you number from here, from the right side to the left side, it will give hydroxy group carbon 3. If you also number from the left side to the right side, it will give hydroxy carbon 3 as well, which means you need to consider another policy or another principle to give the numbering. Now, if you look at this compound, we have two substituents attached to it. We have the bromine and we have the methyl group. Now, if you count from this side, if you count from the left side, you will agree with me that the methyl group we have carbon 2, while the bromine group we have carbon 4. If you count from the right side, or number from the right side, we have the bromine having carbon 2 and the methyl having carbon 4. Now, bromine has a bigger atomic number compared to the molecular mass of methyl. Do you get it? So, based on that fact, we are going to number from the direction which we give bromine the lowest number possible, and that is from the right side. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, which means that we have 2 bromo. We have 2 bromo because bromine is on carbon 2. We have 4 methyl, that is methyl being on carbon 4. Then we have the alcohol group, which is the hydroxy group, at carbon 3. Now, the longest carbon chain is prop, which means that the name of this compound we end with what? 3 all. On that note, arranging this, or better still, let me write the parent name. The parent name is propan 3 all. This 3 represents the carbon, the position of the hydroxy group that is on carbon 3, and the propan here represents the longest continuous carbon chain, which is, sorry, not propan, I mean pent. That's penta. That's 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's penta. That's penta 3 all. Now, having isolated the parameters, the next thing is to arrange in alphabetical order. Remember, bromine, B comes before M. On that note, the Iupac name of this compound will be 2-bromo, 4-methyl, penta 3 all. I believe you understood what I've just presented. Don't forget I still remain tutor Prince Obajo Daniel Dinicole, also known as the man for Holy Character of Chemobiologist. Let's proceed to another set of organic compounds that belongs to the alcohol group. Yes, the alcohol family. Now, in some cases, you may have compounds with more than one hydroxy group. Such case is the one we have here, where we have 2 hydroxy group. Okay. Now, if you observe the first hydroxyl group or the second, so to say, the first one is at the right end, the second one is at the left end. Or you can say the first one is at the left end, while the second one is at the right end. Now, looking at the carbons, the number of carbons we have in this compound is 2, which means that the parent name is F. Yes, F. That's F. Or better still, you can call it ethane because the number of bond we have between the two carbon atom is a single bond. So we have ethane. Yes. Now, one hydroxyl group is found on carbon 1, while the other one is found on carbon 2. So that makes it ethane 1, 2. Now, since we have two hydroxyl group, that becomes di. So then you end it with the suffix for alcohol, which is ol. That will be dihol. Dihol. So we have ethane 1,2-dihol. Are you with me? Exactly. So let's proceed. Now, if you look at this next organic compound, we have OH, which is the hydroxyl group, which means automatically this compound is an alcohol compound. Yes. Now, it's an alcohol compound because if you compare, we have two functional groups here. We have the double bond functional group and we have the OH. Now, if you remember the trend I gave you for the functional group with the highest priority, you notice that hydroxyl has higher priority compared to the double bond between these two carbons. On that note, we give OH the highest priority, which means you're going to number from the carbon that gives the OH the lowest number possible, and which is from the right. So we have 1, 2, 3, which means that the double bond is between carbon 2 and carbon 3. Can you see that? On that note, you're going to give the double bond the lowest number possible, which is what? 2. Now, since we have 3 carbons here, it means the prefix of that compound will be prop. So we have prop, prop, prop. Now, the double bond is between carbon 2 and carbon 3. That gives you prop 2 in. Remember that double bond attests to the fact that we have ENE, that is the alkene. On that note, this functional group will be given in. So we have prop 2 in. Then the OH is attached to carbon 1. That gives you 1 all. On that note, we have prop 2 in 1 all. And that is the Iupac name of this compound. Don't forget that still remains to top Prince of Pajo Daniel Dinicole, also known as the Mathaholic Arithophysical Biology. Stay tuned as we go to the next set of organic compound.